Hello and welcome today for the keynote speakers and conference highlights. Today's session and 3 others this week are presented in both Spanish and English with live simultaneous translations available for those who want it. For today's session, those of you who are bilingual can stay right here. For those of you who would like translation to Spanish, please jump over to the link that is now placed into the chat box. You'll find the chat box in the engagement tab on top of the screen, and then open it and you will see 2 tabs and just click on the chat. You'll find it in the box there. Bienvenidos a los mensajes de bienvenidos y los oradores y algunas informaciones sobre la conferencia que empieza hoy. Para la sesión de hoy y para 3 sesiones adicionales durante la semana van a estar presentados en ambos inglés y español, con intérprete simultáneo disponible para aquellas personas que no le necesitan. Para la sesión de hoy, aquellas personas que están bilingües se puede quedarse aquí mismo. Y si te quiere una traducción de español a inglés o inglés a español, favor de usar el enlace que está disponible en el chat de esa pantalla. Muchas gracias y que disfrute la conferencia.
Good morning and bienvenidos. I'm Jean Hamerman, Acting Executive Director with the Center for Creative Land Recycling, or CCLR. CCLR is the leading national not-for-profit dedicated to transforming communities through land recycling. This means converting abandoned or vacant commercial and industrial properties to assets that benefit the community, create jobs, and generate new tax revenues. Over the past 20 years, we have assisted in bringing millions of dollars in grants to communities across the United States and the Caribbean, and trained over 10,000 community and municipal professionals through workshops and technical assistance. We are U.S. EPA's technical assistance to brownfields communities for 10 states and territories, including the Caribbean. We're so pleased to be working with the U.S. EPA Region 2 to bring you the first virtual Caribbean Brownfield Week. CCLR and EPA have hosted La Semana de Brownfields, or Brownfield Week, for each of the past 5 years in Puerto Rico, only taking a break last year due to COVID. We welcome those of you who participated in Brownfield Week and those of you who are with us new this year and eager to learn and share your expertise around building resilient communities. Next slide. CCLR operates out of offices in New York, California, and Puerto Rico. We are so fortunate to have a 3-person team in Puerto Rico serving the Caribbean. The teams includes our senior advisor, David Southgate, who provided the leadership for this week's conference, Sonia Cosme from EDS, and Luis Yardo from Center for Habitat Reconstruction. Visit their speaker profiles and connect with them here and after the conference. Next slide. The team has worked with over 100 communities in the Caribbean during the past 5 years, providing technical assistance and supporting applications for EPA brownfield grants and targeted brownfield assessments. We want to congratulate the 3 Puerto Rico communities that received this year's EPA assessment grants, Barranquitas, Guaynabo, and Vega Alta, and the dozens of communities that have been approved for targeted brownfield assessments. CCLR is your go-to resource for all things revitalization. We'll meet you where you're at and direct you to where you need to go. Next slide. We hope you will connect with us on social media and visit our booth for more information. The tagline of the conference is Reimagining Resilient Communities. At CCLR, we connect the dots between underutilized or environmentally impacted properties and environmental justice, resilience, and community building. Whether it's an old gas station or a military base or an old factory, all of these properties deserve second acts. Assessing whether there is environmental contamination and cleaning up these properties gives us the chance to build back better in ways that strengthen and protect communities from natural disasters, that improves quality of life and priorities energy independence. I'm now pleased to introduce you to the dignitaries who will be providing today's welcome remarks. Walter Mugdan is currently serving as the Acting Regional Administrator for Region 2 of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. He's had a long career in various leadership roles at the EPA, including oversight of the Superfund program and emergency response. Administrator Mugdan has spoken at CCLR events in New York and we value our shared commitment to building stronger, resilient communities. Walter?
Thanks so much, Jean, and bienvenidos to all the participants in this virtual program. As Jean said, my name is Walter Mugdan. I'm the Acting Regional Administrator for EPA Region 2. Our region serves New York, New Jersey, Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and 8 federally recognized Indian nations. Today, we are celebrating the great success of communities and nonprofit organizations all across the country, and particularly and specifically in Puerto Rico, that are using EPA Brownfields grants to assess and clean up contaminated properties and return blighted properties to productive use. 3 of our 15 grantees for EPA Region 2 this year are from Puerto Rico, and all 3 are municipal governments. As Jean said, we're delighted that they are the municipalities of Barranquitas, Guaynabo, and Vega Alta, and representatives from these local governments are participating in this week's events. So congratulations to those grantees. Congratulations. Thank you for your critical work to bring good paying jobs to your communities that also make them safer and healthier places to live and work. I'm also delighted to welcome Congresswoman Jenniffer Gonzales Colon, who has represented Puerto Rico in Congress since 2016. Congresswoman Gonzales Colon has been a tireless advocate on behalf of her constituents and for the conservation and care of the many natural resources of Puerto Rico. EPA Region 2 has greatly appreciated her attentiveness and her interest in our work over the years, and today we're grateful to have her joining us as we make this important announcement. So as part of our mission to protect human health and the environment, EPA is dedicated to revitalizing contaminated land for productive and sustainable reuse. Brownfield grants have had a powerful impact, bringing hope to underserved communities across the country. Since EPA's Brownfields program began in 1995, it has provided nearly $1.6 billion, that's billion with a B, $billion in grant funding. To date, Brownfield investments have leveraged more than $34 billion in cleanup and redevelopment. Over the years, the relatively small investment of federal funding has, as you see, been able to leverage from both public and private sources more than 175,500 jobs. Cleaning up and reusing contaminated properties protects the environment, it reinvigorates communities, it jumpstarts local economies, it preserves green space, and it can lead to the prevention of sprawl. By awarding Brownfields grants, EPA is making investments in communities to promote environmental health, to leverage redevelopment and economic growth, and support job creation. So today, I'm proud to announce that EPA is building on this success by investing more than $66 million in new funding for 154 brownfield multi-purpose assessment and cleanup grants in communities across the country. And today we're announcing that EPA has selected 3 of these grant recipients in Puerto Rico. As we noted, the municipalities of Barranquitas, Guaynabo, and Vega Alta will each receive a $300,000 grant to prepare, update, and prioritize a brownfields inventory and conduct up to 21 environmental site assessments in each municipality. Grant funds will also be used to produce up to 10 cleanup plans by each recipient and conduct community outreach activities in their respective areas. The target areas for the municipality of Barranquitas are the 17-mile-long corridor that lies northeast to southwest through the heart of Barranquitas and serves as a main commercial artery and primary link to San Juan and the highly urbanized commercial and industrial district. Priority sites there include a former Job Corps school, a former sewage plant, the former Calle Barcelo textile manufacturing facility, the former Calle Milton Perez Intermediate Urban School that adjoins the Barranquitas River, and a former hospital near the river. The target area for the municipality of Guaynabo is the Bay Area district, which stretches 1.7 miles northeast to southwest in the northern part of Guaynabo. And priority sites there include a vacant lot, the former Calle y Ramos Antonini auto parts store, a former rehabilitation center, another abandoned store, and a former auto repair facility. And the target area for the municipality of Vega Alta is the 3.4 mile long toll road corridor and Vega Alta's urban center. Priority sites there are a former healthcare center, a former gymnasium, a former casino, a former Masonic lodge, and the former El Moro box factory. So making investments in disadvantaged communities is an important part of the Biden-Harris administration's commitment to advance economic opportunities and address environmental justice issues in underserved communities. And today's grant announcement is an example of an existing federal resource that targets disadvantaged communities as well as the cleanup of legacy pollution. This funding that we're announcing today supports community revitalization in underserved and economically disadvantaged communities, and redevelopment of brownfield sites makes use of available infrastructure as well as reducing costs to local government of extending existing infrastructure to other locations. Past grants that have been awarded by EPA's Brownfield program have led to a visible difference in communities across the country. Communities that previously received Brownfield grants have used these federal funds or federal resources to fund the assessment and cleanup of brownfields, and very importantly, successfully have leveraged an average of 10.3 jobs for every $100,000 of EPA Brownfield grants funds spent, and on average, $20.13 for each and every EPA Brownfields dollar expended on assessment, cleanup, and revolving loan fund grants. So you see the multiplier effect of these relatively modest federal grants. They have an enormous multiplier effect in terms of job creation and economic investment in communities. So in conclusion, I want to congratulate these three municipalities in Puerto Rico and their partners for being selected for a Brownfield grant this year. I look forward to hearing about their great work and the impact it's having on those three communities. I want to thank my own colleagues at EPA Region 2 who've worked so diligently on helping these municipalities apply for these grants and learn about them. I want to thank CCLR for their efforts in helping us put together this virtual program. Obviously, we would have very much preferred if we could have been together in person, but this is a great opportunity. Until that time comes, this is a great opportunity for us to get together. The purpose of the Brownfields program and these grants is much more than revitalizing individual properties. They serve as catalysts to spark economic revival in forgotten and struggling communities. We hope that your communities use these grants to help drive economic and other investments to your critically important neighborhoods. And now, back to Jean. Thank you.
Thank you, Administrator Mugdan. We really hope that we'll see you in person in New York soon, along with New York colleagues Terry Wesley, Brownfield Section Chief, Shanine Mitchell, and Yucasta de Jesus, Environmental Protection Specialists. They and their Puerto Rican-based colleagues, Zolimar Luna and Brenda Reyes Tomasini, worked alongside us to make this an inspiring and memorable conference, and we thank them. We are honored that Jenniffer Gonzales Colon, Puerto Rico's resident commissioner to the U.S. Conference, could join us today for welcome remarks. The Honorable Gonzales's priorities in Congress include spearheading the economic recovery of Puerto Rico and obtaining equal treatment for Puerto Rico's U.S. citizens under federal law and regulations. Her participation here today spotlights how we are stronger together in building community. Thank you.
I want to say thank you again, and thank you, Jean, and everybody for inviting me for this Caribbean Week. And I want to recognize, as I was saying, EPA's leadership and the agency's importance for addressing many of the needs of Puerto Rico communities including providing funding under the Clean Water and Drinking Water State Revolving Funds, supporting cleanup efforts at contaminated sites under the Fund program. All the help you brought us to during Hurricane Irma and Maria, and to providing oversight over the closure and redevelopment of landfills on the island. I want to say thank you again also for regulating and controlling emissions generated by industry and a lot of public utilities that continues to do so. I want to say thank you again for the National Estuary Program and the beach grants to protect the quality of water of our beaches, and the Brownfields Program, which is the focus of this event. I just want to establish that this program is of great importance for Puerto Rico and part of the rapid industrialization period occurred prior to the development and adoption of current environmental laws and regulations. Therefore, many commercial and industrial activities use materials and relied on practices that today we know had damaging effects, or they were developed when there were waste and wastewater disposal did not comply with current norms. So that means that we still have a lot of work to do together, and this created both challenges and opportunities. Challenges because of the risk of public health, and particularly on neighborhood communities, and challenge because we cannot redevelop and reuse property until it complies with the current regulations. Opportunities, I will say, because it will be ideal to reuse that property which represent an already impacted location, meaning that we will not need to start new developments, and of course opportunities as well to ensure those sites and structures do not become a public nuisance. In Puerto Rico, over 140 sites under all applicable categories are being identified as brownfields. I think that's a big number. And this includes sites that where there used to be industrial or commercial activity, among others, which have also been impacted. The scale includes smaller sites like a mechanic shop or a home, or much larger sites like a former pharmaceutical or petrochemical plant at the municipality of Peñuelas. New sites will be added this week under the assessment program in municipalities in Puerto Rico, being selected for assessment that allows for evaluation of current conditions, the need for cleanup work, and proper protection for the community as well. And secondly, it helps determine the potential for future developments and help cover all areas, including urban centers and commercial corridors. And that includes rural, metropolitan, and many other areas to determine what actions need to be taken. I think the success of these efforts relies on close cooperation between the municipalities, the government of Puerto Rico, to decipher the results of these evaluations, which remedial plans needs to be adopted moving forward. Of course, there's going to be an issue of funding, and that's one of the biggest problems we do face on the island. But Brownfields program can also support the opportunity zones, which provides incentives for industrial development in disadvantaged areas. There are several of these communities that host impacted areas. Redeveloping these areas where there used to be industry and economic activity can address the need for jobs and economic restoration for that community as well. And I think overall, this will allow a greater use of the incentive, which currently covers 96% of the island, which is good. So I support this and similar EPA programs. Throughout my time in Congress, I have supported requests to either maintain or increase funds for programs as the Clean Water, the Drinking Water State Revolving Funds, the Super Fund, the Brownfields, and the National Estuary Program. I think economic development is completely compatible with protection of the environment, and in that effort, you will always can with my support, not just in Washington, but in Puerto Rico as well. So I want to say thank you to everybody participating in this Brownfields Caribbean week. The best of everything for you, and in anything my office can help, I'll be available for you. Thank you.
Thank you for those important remarks, and we look forward to following your success in the Congress. We will now hear from Carmen Guerrero Perez, Director of the U.S. EPA's Caribbean Environmental Protection Division. Carmen is a tireless advocate for the environment. Ms. Guerrero uses her extensive real-world experience to tackle real-world complexity in protecting Puerto Rico's coastal areas and ecosystems. Her leadership has stewarded the Caribbean through natural disasters and strengthened the resiliency and adaptation capacity. We look forward to her remarks now.
Saludos. De parte de todo el equipo de la Región 2 de la Agencia Federal de Protección Ambiental, también conocida como la EPA, le damos la más cordial bienvenida a esta conferencia virtual de Brownfields en el Caribe, donde el equipo del Centro de Reciclaje Creativo de Terreno y de la EPA, junto a muchísimos colaboradores, estarán presentando información valiosa sobre el redesarrollo de Brownfields. Como aprenderán en esta conferencia, las subvenciones de Brownfields de la EPA incluyen diversas áreas de enfoque, desde lo que es la planificación y el inventario de propiedades, la participación ciudadana, la caracterización y remoción de contaminantes y la capacitación y desarrollo de la fuerza laboral, entre otros. El propósito del programa Brownfields de la EPA es mucho más que ayudar a evaluar y limpiar propiedades individuales que pueden estar contaminadas y eliminar los riesgos a la salud pública que éstas pueden representar. También sirve de catalítico en la revitalización económica y social de las comunidades donde se encuentran estas propiedades. Hoy tenemos el placer de anunciar la selección de 3 nuevos municipios en Puerto Rico que estarán recibiendo subvenciones Brownfields para la evaluación de terrenos, específicamente los municipios de Barranquita, Guaynabo y Vega Alta. Por eso queremos felicitar y reconocer el compromiso de los alcaldes honorable Eliot Colón Blanco y el honorable Ángel Pérez Otero y la alcaldesa honorable María Vega Pagán y sus equipos de trabajo por haber sido seleccionados a recibir subvenciones para promover el redesarrollo de Brownfields en sus comunidades. Cuentan con nuestro apoyo y como parte de esta conferencia queremos compartir las herramientas para que más municipios y entidades se puedan beneficiar de estas subvenciones. Al presente, existen sobre 180 propiedades en Puerto Rico que han sido evaluadas bajo el programa Targeted Brownfields Assessment, evaluaciones enfocadas de Brownfields. Y la EPA ha otorgado 40 subvenciones a municipios, agencias gubernamentales y entidades no gubernamentales. Cónsono con las subvenciones otorgadas y esfuerzos de la recuperación en la isla, este año contamos con la participación de múltiples organizaciones no gubernamentales exponiendo sobre sus iniciativas y logros de enfocarse en promover la equidad social y el desarrollo sostenible. Este año también contamos con una entidad nacional sin fines de lucro para las artes, conocida como ArtSpace, quienes presentarán cómo han utilizado creatividad, innovación y metodologías únicas que involucran comunidades y partes interesadas para desarrollar, fomentar y preservar espacios asequibles a largo plazo para el sector creativo y cultural en Estados Unidos y ahora en el Caribe. Conoceremos también sobre el extraordinario trabajo que hace Resiliency y Voluntariado PR o Voluntariado Puerto Rico junto a varias instituciones académicas para crear espacios que nos brinden protección ante eventos como huracanes y terremotos y a la vez promuevan la resiliencia económica, ambiental y social. Como pueden ver, tenemos una agenda bien ambiciosa y llena de proyectos que son ejemplo de lo mucho que podemos hacer con visión e ingenio. Con el compromiso de ustedes podemos continuar impactando a nuestras comunidades, revitalizando sus cascos urbanos y zonas industriales abandonadas a través de la reutilización de estos espacios. Esperamos que esta conferencia virtual les brinde una oportunidad para compartir información, intercambiar ideas y estrategias y motivarles a utilizar las herramientas que ponemos hoy a su disposición. Contamos con ustedes para continuar liderando los esfuerzos encaminados a la reconstrucción, el redesarrollo y la revitalización de Puerto Rico. Muchísimas gracias y que tengan una semana sumamente productiva.
Thank you. We will now take a moment to share a new video with you about how CCLR's work with communities helps them to move their community development projects forward. Here's our senior advisor, David Southgate, reporting from Punta Puerto about a gorgeous community-based project in Aguadilla. Enjoy.
What is the role of community-based organizations in land recycling? Well, let me tell you, working with communities to help them pull together the brownfields projects for revitalizing areas is truly rewarding. We see nonprofit organizations around Puerto Rico revitalizing spaces, creating new public goods and services for the enjoyment of everybody. My name is David Southgate, and I help communities and municipalities recycle land. We're here today in Punta Borinquen, Las Ruinas, in the municipality of Aguadilla on the northwest coast of Puerto Rico. We're here at the former naval facility where a sound surveillance system, Project CCLR, was once installed to monitor undersea traffic, in particular during the Cold War, looking for submarines. The facility opened in 1954 and was later decommissioned in 1976, at which time it fell into disrepair and began to be used for prostitution, drug use, illegal dumping, and the whole area became quite overgrown with tropical overgrowth. Fast forward several decades and enter the organization Rescate Playas Borinquen and their mobilization of hundreds of volunteers and money to rehabilitate this beautiful part of Puerto Rico. They've installed walking paths, lookout towers, and interpretive signing for the future enjoyment and present enjoyment of people who visit this area. Brownfields are typically a challenge for municipalities and community organizations because they look at an empty site and sometimes they see the possibility of environmental problems that may make it really complicated for them to be able to revitalize that area. This is where the assistance for the Center for Creative Land Recycling, or CCLR, comes in. We provide technical assistance free of charge to municipalities and community-based organizations, providing them the know-how, the experience, and sometimes just a leg up to help them move their projects forward.
My name is Mario Torres Zamora, and I am the president and founder of Rescate Playas Borinquen 501c3 1101 nonprofit organization. The mission of Rescate Playas Borinquen is to restore recreational areas and to protect nature, with the vision of creating Puerto Rico's northwest recreational and ecological corridor, with the hopes of rehabilitating the buildings on site to make a visitor center and a community center open to the general public. CCLR helped us with a targeted brownfields assessment program, an array of things from start to finish, with the application initially to finally receiving our report. This document was important for our organization for several reasons. First of all, it set a precedent that we have been working here for all these years and that we want to move forward. But not to mention the fact that this report gives us hundreds if not thousands of pages of information that could be used and educates us in regards to the area and used in the future for grants and other pertinent documents. I felt a bunch of different feelings: disbelief, elated. It's hard to describe because something that you've been working for so many years, for 9 years, when it all happens, you're just kind of in shock. I guess that's how I would describe it. In the future, we would like for these buildings to be turned into a visitor center that are open to the public, highlighting the recreational and protected lands. This would also serve as a community center, the headquarters for the Rescate Playas Borinquen nonprofit organization, a museum, reception hall, research center for biologists, tour guide station, conference room, recreational rent-a center, restroom facilities, refreshment stand, gift shop, ranger station, nursery, stables, and security.
That's the third time I've seen that video, and I enjoy it each and every time and am inspired by the project they'll be undertaking. We are now going to hear remarks from Manuel Cidre Miranda, Secretary of the Puerto Rican Department of Economic Development and Commerce. Secretary Miranda's commitment to Puerto Rico has been recognized by multiple community and professional organizations. His work at DDEC gives him a platform to protect and strengthen Puerto Rico.
Saludos, soy Manuel Cidre, secretario del Departamento de Desarrollo Económico y Comercio del Gobierno de Puerto Rico. Agradecemos al señor Walter Mugdan la invitación a esta actividad que sin duda alguna nos sentará a todos en la misma mesa para buscar soluciones que garanticen nuestra sustentabilidad a través de los años. El Caribbean Brownfields Virtual Week precisamente eso es lo que hace. Sentar a todos los componentes, compartir buenas prácticas, de tal manera que podamos juntos como región solidificar y solidificarnos de manera tal que podamos enfrentar los embates atmosféricos que de tiempo en tiempo acechan nuestra área. Nos sentimos sumamente identificados con el tema. ¿Por qué? Porque como ustedes saben, Puerto Rico ha tenido que ser sumamente resiliente frente a tantos acontecimientos difíciles. Dos huracanes enormes, Irma y María, un evento sísmico en el área sur que todavía hoy está afectando el área. Y no menos importante, el evento pandémico desde el mes de marzo del año 2020. Ojalá pudiéramos decir que todo termina aquí, pero todos sabemos que estos eventos se van a repetir y van a volver. Puerto Rico tiene una gran oportunidad. Va a recibir en los próximos 10 años sobre 79.000 millones de dólares en fondos federales. Si algo es importante en este momento es que junto a nuestros vecinos inmediatos nos podamos sentar en la misma mesa, compartir las áreas que tenemos que mejorar e insertarlas en los cambios de infraestructura que tenemos que hacer para hacer de Puerto Rico y la región un área mucho más resiliente y un área mucho más fortalecida ante los eventos. Así que el Caribbean Brownfield Virtual Week es algo que sin duda alguna nos une a todos y agradecemos a la Agencia Federal de Protección Ambiental por tomar la iniciativa en esta dirección. Juntos, compartiendo nuestras fortalezas y nuestras debilidades, nos fortalecemos todos y nos prepara a hacerle frente al futuro que nos toque vivir. Les deseo el mayor de los éxitos. Muchas gracias.
We thank all of our dignitaries for their timely remarks this morning, for their inspiration, and for their collaboration. My last task is to give you information about the conference and how to maximize your week with us. We've all gotten used to some level of working virtually during this past year with the COVID pandemic. For our first Caribbean conference, we have invested in a virtual platform that allows small group networking, exhibitor booths, and Spanish-English translation of key panels. We hope you will join us and watch all the sessions live, but we are recording them and will make recordings available after the conference. Slides. Please take a moment to explore this platform. When you enter, you are in the lobby. There are 3 important tabs on your left-hand side of your screen. Take a moment to find them. They are Sessions, Exhibitor, and Networking tabs. Next slide. To join our sessions, click on the Sessions tab and select a live session. These sessions are in order of date and time. And make sure you explore the whole program so you can see what's coming up. Next slide. If you click on the link for the exhibitor booths, you'll see our 3D exhibitor area. Make sure you reserve time to visit and introduce yourself to all of the wonderful federal agencies and local resources that have made themselves available to share information and expertise. If they're not there when you go to visit them, leave them a note by requesting more information so that you'll get a notice that you stopped by and can follow up with you. If they are there, you'll be able to live chat with them via video. To join them on a video, select Join Live. Up to 25 people can join an exhibitor booth, so don't be shy. Just join in a conversation as you visit each booth. Next slide. Lastly, we have a feature especially for this event to allow you to meet in small groups. After this session, take a stretch, grab some lunch, and join us for small group networking. To participate, just click on the networking tab on the left-hand menu. At the top, you will see the Groups tab. Enter into your room of choice by topic or for general discussion. Please ensure you have allowed the Google Chrome browser to access your video and audio by clicking on the lock link in your internet web browser and select Allow. This way we can see you and hear you. Once you select this, you'll enter the group discussion and have the option to share the video and audio to participate live on screen with your peers. Each day we'll have tables with different themes based on topics you express interest in when registering. Today's session is from 1 to 2 p.m. and will cover grant applications, management and municipal government, or just go to a room and meet colleagues. Feel free to move about the rooms. If you have any technical issues, please use the Contact Us chat widget at the bottom left of your screen to connect with our live support staff. This small group networking and exhibitor booth is available every day of this week. Check the schedule and don't miss meeting new people. You may find that you'll meet people that you hadn't planned to and that you may not have met if this were an in-person event. We have left registration open so people can join for one or more sessions this week. If your colleagues have not yet registered, please share the registration link we have posted in the lobby, and they will be able to get login information when they register. In closing, thank you for joining us for Caribbean Brownfield Week. We hope the conference will inspire conversations, create new affiliations, and be a call to action for building economically and environmentally resilient communities. CCLR and EPA are here to support you. We'll hope to see you in small groups soon. Enjoy the rest of the conference.